Mr. Woodruff, you've tested positive for HIV. Have you ever used intravenous drugs? Have you ever engaged in homosexual conduct?
Homo. Did you say homo? You made a mistake, because that ain't me.
Mr. Woodruff, we estimate you have 30 days left.
And newsflash for y'all. There ain't nothing out there can kill Ron Woodruff in 30 days. Them drugs, they just released for testing, and I know this hospital's worth the size. I need it.
It doesn't work that way, Mr. Woodruff.
Where are you going?
In the 1980s, during the spread of HIV, one rodeo cowboy sets up a buyers club in the Dallas area.
Thus, Dallas Buyers Club.
Matthew McConaughey stars as Ron Woodruff, delivering just another fantastic performance of his in recent years. Zach, what do you think of Dallas Buyers Club?
Yeah, it's really a great vehicle for McConaughey. There was a lot of stories about that, amazing weight loss campaign he went on. He lost
sick.
Even
if I didn't know this man had AIDS when I went to see the movie, I'd think you need to see a doctor.
That's the thing. A lot of people were worried about his health before. People were wondering, is this for a project? Of course it's for a project. He lost, was it 60 or just 30 pounds?
I think it was closer to 60, not full 60, but yeah.
He looks so emaciated, and that adds a lot to this movie. Is that you believe he is that sick and that he's really on the edge of death. He gets this prognosis. He has 30 days to live in the beginning of the movie, and that sort of dread hangs over it. Even though he's gonna outlive that pretty much, because they can't fit all that in 30 days. But you can't help but feel like this guy is not healthy when you look at him, and that adds so much to the performance. Yeah. But it's a good performance on its own, too.
Yeah, it's a fantastic performance, and that just feeling of dread for McConaughey and most of the characters in this movie is my favorite part. They do such a fantastic job of just capturing the feeling that all of these people are dying, and that's awful. Even when these characters are making jokes, they're jokes that aren't supposed to be funny. We're either going to make these jokes or we're going to curl up and just cry for the next couple hours.
Yeah, that sort of sense of there's something wrong there kind of remains, but in terms of AIDS movies and epidemic movies, it's not that depressing. And I think that's partially because Matthew McConaughey is so charming, and a lot because Jared Leto is so funny in his role, playing the transgender character in the film, who kind of is, an amalgam of a lot of, the people who are grouped in with homosexuals of the era.
The everyman of all of the terrible propaganda of you can't get AIDS if you're not gay or drug addict, you're fine.
And those preconceived assumptions about what type of person gets AIDS hangs over the whole film. You have Ron battling these people that he used to be friends with who now don't want to hang out with him, and you have doctors making false assumptions about the type of people they're treating, and also false assumptions about the type of medicine they're giving out, which is kind of one of the interesting things about the movie, is just this whole battle with the FDA that the Ron Woodruff character goes through.
Yeah, to me that was another really interesting part of the movie, just because Ron Woodruff is doing all of these really commendable acts, he's helping people with AIDS live longer than a hospital would, but he's not doing it because he's a nice dude. He's doing it first because he can make money doing it, and second because he just despises the FDA.
And it's kind of cool that, even though he starts the movie kind of prejudiced, he doesn't just drop it once he's exposed to other people. Yeah. He kind of stays himself and only slightly changes, and it felt that sort of transition was pretty realistic.
He's selling these people the drugs that will save their life while he's cursing them out and telling them that they're terrible people.
Was there anything that took you out of the movie, anything you liked less?
To me, in general, the second half, a lot of the scenes just felt longer and felt a lot more we have to convey this message here. While in the first movie, it did a really good job of actually conveying the message by just being there. Just the scenes were a lot shorter and felt more impactful.
Yeah, the first half kind of moved very briskly. It was quick glimpses at someone's life, a lot of dialogue-less, just little vignettes almost that moved the story forward. And then it got into very talky parts. Yeah. And there's no speeches. It's not one of those movies, so I'm happy about that. But at the same time, it became a little by the numbers. And if you've seen a movie like this, you're going to know where it's going. It's not the most unique movie in its execution, but it is something that tells the story well and has this powerhouse performance at the center of it that really will, keep you through the movie.
Matthew McConaughey doing Matthew McConaughey things, and it's wonderful. And even Jared Leto, who's Jared Leto, does a really good job.
Yeah, hopefully the both of them get Oscar nominations. They probably deserve it. So on the infamous Pretentious Film Majors 5-star scale, what will you give Dallas Buyers Club?
I give Dallas Buyers Club 4 stars out of 5.
For me, I'm not as high on it. I liked it a lot walking out of it, but for me, the only thing that kind of sticks with me is that Matthew McConaughey performance. So I'm going to drop it down to a 3 out of 5. It's definitely a well-executed movie, just not the most original, not the best, but really great performances.
Man, I got one life.
You ain't alone.
Wanted to mean something.
Just let me be your ticket home.
That's it for this Pretentious Film Majors movie review. For more from the channel, click to subscribe above me. You can also find out more about us at pretentiousfilmmajors.com, facebook.com/pretentiousfilmmajors, twitter.com/pfmshow, or our Instagram, because that's a thing we're doing.